How can you improve your code quality without doing anything? My name is Andrew, and today I'll show you a simple life hack on how to improve your code without doing anything. No actions needed. Let's start. So let's say that you started a project in any programming language, in any environment, in any subsystem, whatever. You just started a project and you worked on that project for a whole month. So you worked every day or every other day, it doesn't really matter. But you worked on that project for 1 month. What happens after that? After your code base is big enough, you're going to start to see some problems. So let's say that you know that you can apply some kind of design pattern here. You can improve your code structure in that place. You can separate your responsibilities or remove some dependencies from this part of your code. You can, optimize some functions, optimize some algorithms, and so on and so on and so on. So after some period of time, you're going to see some issues, some problems, some mistakes within your code. Of course, it's not always the case, but if you do not see any problems and any issues, it's time for you to learn something new. So let's say that you see some problems, and what are you going to do if you see some issues within your code? Of course, there are two ways to fix that issue. The first way is not fix that issue at all, so just continue working with your code, but that's not the way that we want to take. Because if we don't fix anything, then what's the point of writing good code? Why do you watch this video? Second way is to just start refactoring your code. So you start adding some patterns, you remove unused classes, you do all that stuff. So you refactor your code. And what happens after that? After you're done with refactoring your code, you look at your code base and you say, okay, I refactored it, I changed it, it's better now. Let's continue working on new features. Let's continue adding something new. And what happens after 2 months of this cycle? The following thing is going to appear in your code. You're going to start seeing more problems, more issues, more mistakes that appear out of nowhere. And some of the mistakes are going to be so vital that you have not even thought about them before running into them. So let's say that your architecture is incorrect. If your architecture is incorrect, then you're probably going to have to rewrite your whole project. Let's say that the database that you chose is incorrect. Let's say that some functions, some classes that you're using are not the ones that you need. And those problems can be very, very, very crucial, very, very, very important for your project. So what you want to do is to avoid those things. What you want to do is start working on your project, refactor it, and then add new features without being afraid that your project contains some deep problems that you have not seen yet and that are going to appear in the near future or in the future. So what you want to do is make sure that your project, that your code base is good, that you can continue working with the features. And what do you need to do in order to make sure that that happens? What you need to do is do nothing. You should do nothing at all. And what do I mean by that? The only thing that you can do in order to avoid any issues with your project is just rest. What I mean by that? You should not just say, okay, I worked for a month, or I worked for 4 weeks, I worked for 5 weeks, I can just abandon that project completely. Of course not. What you need to do is take a rest from this specific project for 1 week. Why is that? Because when you don't look at your code for some period of time, so let's say for 1 week, when you come back to that code, you're gonna see some vital problems that you have not seen before. So what I suggest you to do is not just work for a month, refactor, continue working. Work for a month, stop working, refactor, maybe stop working for like 1 or 2 days again, and then continue adding new features. Of course, after another refactoring if you need it. Why is that? Because if you look at your code every day, your mind, like your brain, thinks that every piece of that code is needed. And even if you see some parts that are unused, that are redundant, then those parts are not all the parts that you're going to have to remove. So what I want you to do is just stop working on that specific project and then come back a week later, 2 days later, 3 days later. Just stop looking at that specific code. That does not mean that you should stop programming completely. You can work on other projects, you can learn something in programming, and learning is really, really important, because if you don't learn and just stop in the middle of nowhere, then you're not going to achieve anything. You're just going to come back to your project and see nothing. because you don't know anything, so you should learn continuously. However, those stops, those rests, mini rests in between your features and your refactoring are really important. So once again, the only trick to make your code better without doing anything is just stop looking at that specific code. You can still code other things, you can still do whatever you want, but for some time, you should stop looking at that specific code. That's going to be very beneficial for you. That's what I want to say. And I think that's the summary of my life hack. Stop working for some time, come back to your code later. And of course, study continuously. Learn new things, learn new programming languages, new libraries, new algorithms, all that stuff. That's it. My name is Andrew. Subscribe to my channel, leave a like, leave a comment, go to my PyAssimilator library, and bye bye.